Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a new everyday makeup drawer video. I am ready to swap things out, put a fresh new group of products in there. The last time I refreshed my everyday makeup drawer was before Christmas, so I have a lot of like holiday stuff in there, like a bunch of red lipsticks, a bunch of holiday-esque palettes. I've gotten some good use out of these things. Some of these things I didn't get around to using at all, but that's okay. I put probably way too much stuff in my drawer this past time and I just wasn't able to get around to using all of it. But I'm just ready to get a clean, fresh start with everything. So first I'm going to take all of the previous items out of my drawer. I'll share with you some of the looks that I created over the past few weeks, and then we'll pick out a new set of items and do a get ready with me together at the end. So let's hop right in. Okay, so here's what my everyday makeup drawer has been for the past about 3 weeks. But one product, this actually wasn't in my Shop My Stash, this was a Project Pan item. This has been living in this drawer for the past few months. The Urban Decay Hydromaniac Foundation. I didn't end up rolling this over into my 2023 Project Pan. I will definitely at some point soon in the coming months, but for right now I'm not actively panning any of my foundations, so this one is going to go back into my collection. Then we had the ColourPop Pretty Fresh. This was the one that I chose for my Shop My Stash this past rotation. Of course, one of my favorites. I especially love it in the winter because it does have a satin matte finish, but it's also not drying whatsoever. The e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, loved this. I feel like I used this almost every single day. I even took it with me when I went home for Christmas, and this is really starting to show some visible usage, which I'm very happy about. I haven't had this for that long. I think I've had it since like the fall, but I've been using it so much and it's nice to see some visible progress in there. So that was that. I'll be putting that away. My Kokie blush in Bellissima. That one, of course, you know, is one of my favorites. The Pixi Glowy Gossamer Duo in Subtle Sunrise. I loved having both of these two highlighter tones. I also brought this with me on my trip. The Flower Chrome Crush Pressed Pigment in Quartz. I think I'm just going to leave this permanently in my everyday makeup drawer because I use it so often as it is. It's just such a great topper. You can see it's kind of like a rose gold champagne sort of color, but it really just gives you the most beautiful, like warm champagne sparkle. It goes with just about any look. Lately I've been finishing off almost every look with this, just either in the inner corner or all over the lid. It's just beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this in there, let myself continue using that. I have been keeping all of these liquid and cream eyeshadows in here, but I don't feel like that has actually helped me remember to use these, so I'm going to go ahead and take them out because they're really just taking up space in this drawer. And I think what I'll do instead is just pick one at a time to focus on, and instead I'll keep these in my Alex drawers so that they don't take up valuable real estate in this small drawer. Same deal with my Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in Rose Gold. Okay, so I had picked out 3 eyeshadow palettes. I didn't end up using my Flower Jungle Lights palette, unfortunately. I was hoping to do at least one like Christmassy look with this, but I just didn't get around to it. But I will definitely be sure to put this back in my everyday makeup drawer in the next few months. But right now I have some other palettes in mind that I want to use in January. These other 2 palettes I used a lot, especially Sultry. This one I used the most this month, and I'm really glad that I did because I've had this palette for a long time, but I felt like I still hadn't really gotten to know it. But I now feel like I have a really solid understanding of this palette, and I did actually do a 1 week 1 palette with this for my channel members and patrons, so if you'd like to check that out, those are linked below. But I'll pop up a few of my favorite looks that I did with this palette. I did do one silver look with the shade Cyborg all over the lid, and then Slate and Noir as my matte shades. So basically those bottom right 3 shades there. Yeah, that was a look that I'd been envisioning for a long time, so I really enjoyed that. And then I also did one of my favorite types of looks where I used both a silver and a gold on my lid. I kind of had the silver fade into the gold. And then I also did a couple of all matte looks. I think my favorite one featured Twig all over the lid, and that was like the main shade that I used, and then I think I used Dystopian as my liner. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this palette in December. I would say that that was my most used palette of the month. I also had my Sigma Enchanted palette in here. In my last Shop My Stash video, I did a look at the end of that video with both this and Sultry. Those 2 palettes together actually paired really nicely, so I'll link that below if you want to see that look come together. But then another look I did with this, it actually turned out a lot more springy than I intended, but it had this shade Electrum here, this gold in the bottom left, all over the lid. That gold, depending on what colors you pair it with, it either pulls gold or more of like a green. And actually in the look that I did, it ended up looking a lot more green, but I had that all over the lid. Then that matte light pink called Innocent in the crease, and then I used that deep green Evergreen as my upper liner. That shade is so dark. I almost wish that green were just a little bit lighter so that you could tell that it's green once it's on the eyes. So I felt like that look ended up being more springy than the sort of holiday look I was envisioning, but it was still really pretty. So I think that was the main noteworthy look that I created with this one. The Urban Decay eyeliner in Overdrive, love this one. And then I also had the Essence 24 Ever ink liner in black. I hadn't been wearing a ton of black liquid liner lately, and I ended up only using this once in my memory over the past few weeks, and that was actually yesterday. It was a very like bronzy look, and I just used this as my winged liner. I do really like how intense of a black this liner is. It's really just the packaging and the shape of the tip that I don't like, but it does give a really nice dark black look, so I guess I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with this eyeliner. I had quite a few lip products in here. I unfortunately didn't end up using my metallic red at all. I brought it with me on my trip and everything, but I just didn't end up getting an opportunity to wear it. Hopefully I can wear this on my lips around Valentine's Day. I feel like it will make a really pretty lip for that time as well. I did end up using my Aether Beauty lip stain in Wisdom quite a few times on both my lips and my cheeks. I really just appreciated the slightly lower maintenance red lip that I was able to get with this, and I also wore it on my cheeks quite a few times. Makes a great liquid blush also. I did wear my BK Beauty lipstick in Acceptance a few times. That was just a nice go-to nude option. Also the e.l.f. lip plumping gloss in Pink Cosmo. This ended up being the perfect sort of glitzy holiday lip gloss. I don't think I wore my base blue lipstick at all. This is in the shade 01. I don't think I wore this at all over the past few weeks since I put it in my everyday makeup drawer, but I did wear it quite a few times before that throughout December, so I'm still glad that I wore this a few times in December because this is like the quintessential holiday red right here. And then my Kokie lip liner in True Red also got some good use, which is nice because this is one of my lesser used lip liners, but it is really handy to have whenever I'm doing a red lip. So that's everything. The drawer is looking pretty empty. So first I want to go ahead and put all of my Project Pan items, my newly introduced Project Pan items, which if you missed it, I will go ahead and link my 2021 Project Pan intro below. But I ended up putting all these in one of my little drawer organizers, hoping that this ends up, see this, I wish this drawer was bigger. But let me do some rearranging here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna keep that right there, and then okay, so that ended up fitting nicely over here. I just wanted to keep all of those Project Pan items together so that whenever I want to have a day where I'm like mainly working from those items, I have them all right there together, kind of separate from everything else. And these are sort of just my everyday use products, brow products, mascaras. So then over here will be where I keep my Shop My Stash products. This way everything's just kind of neatly organized a little bit rather than just having everything all thrown in there in the same space. So hopefully this will be enough room for all of this. I do wish these drawers pulled out just a little bit farther because you can see there's quite a bit of space back there that is just sort of tucked away, but that usually doesn't stop me from reaching for things. So maybe I'll even, you know what, actually, yeah. I ended up sliding these back because most of these things I can reach from here, and that way we'll have all of this space here for my Shop My Stash. So let's go ahead and pick out some new products to put in here. Alrighty, first drawer up is my eyeshadow drawer. And you know what, I really want to pull in my Lethal Cosmetics custom palette because I just want to play with this some more. This has so many great colors. I especially feel like that top row is perfect for winter. Now that it's January, this is the month where I really like to lean into like the frosty, light, sparkly colors. And I think that top row is perfect for that with like the light blue, kind of snowy multi-chrome there. So yeah, this one I'm really looking forward to playing with this month and just creating some more looks with it. I think that's going to be my only palette. I do want to grab one of my liquid glitters though, because as I said, I really want to just kind of rotate through these. I think this is the one I'm going to pick. This is the one from Black Moon Cosmetics in the shade Luna. You can see it's kind of just like a frosty, bluey, pink duochrome. I think that'll make a really nice topper. You know what? I lied. I do want to pick out another palette. I'm going to grab my Shared Planet Polar Bear palette. This is another sort of winter, like frosty winter palette. And I feel like January is usually the month that I like to put this into my Shop My Stash. Yeah, I love all the frosty blues and grays in here. And that shade down there, Avalanche, that light blue metallic. Oh my god, that shade is so pretty. So I cannot wait to get some looks out of that as well. Usually I do my face drawer next, but let's actually do my lip product drawer. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to focus on for this drawer is the new Pantone color of the year, which is called Viva Magenta. And I don't feel like I have a whole lot of magenta eyeshadows, but I do have at least one magenta lipstick. At least I think this would be classified as a magenta. This is the CoverGirl 24-hour matte lipstick in Thrill Seeker. I love this. It's a matte lipstick. It has really good staying power, but it's very comfortable at the same time. So yeah, I love this color. It's very bold and vibrant. Let's also pull in the other of my Aether lip stains. This one is more of a magenta. The one I had in last month was the reddish color, but this one is the shade Influence, really pretty magenta pink. And yeah, I'm really back into kind of a lip stain mood right now. I just love how like easy they are, so that one I will be enjoying as well. And let's grab one nude lip. So in my project pan I have a very like pink nude lip combo, but I want to grab more of like a brownish nude to go with my like frosty blue looks, because I feel like that goes well with those types of looks. I think I'm going to grab my Urban Decay lipstick in Liar. This is kind of a warm nude, but I was actually going through my lipsticks. I think I'm going to add to my wish list some sort of more like cool toned brownish nude. If anyone has any lipstick suggestions that would fall under that category that would work well for fair skin, let me know, because I'm kind of in the market for some lighter nudes. I used to have the e.l.f. Seriously Satin Lipstick in Cream, but I ended up having to toss that one after I dropped it on the carpet recently. So I might repurchase that one, but I'm also kind of open to other options. Anyway, I think this should work. I might even like try mixing this either with a little bit of concealer or with my CoverGirl Honeyed Bloom lipstick just to kind of cool it down a bit. But this is one of my favorite kind of peachy nudes. I think that should be sufficient because I also have my Project Pan lip products that I think will also go with my sort of frosty looks. All right, top drawer here, we have my face products. So for foundation, I want to put my LYS foundation in my drawer. This was in my 2022 makeup favorites, one of the best foundations I've tried in a long time. I wore this yesterday and I just couldn't stop noticing how good my skin looked. Every time I looked in the mirror, I was like, wow, my skin looks good. So yeah, and this is a great one, very dry skin friendly, which my skin is very dry right now. So that'll be my foundation. I'm not going to pick a concealer this time around because I really want to focus on my Kosas one that I put in my Project Pan. And then for blush, I'm actually thinking I have a cream blush in my Project Pan. It's the Milani Cheek Kiss in Nude Kiss. And that one is a bit of a more warm pink. So maybe I'll do my About Face blush in Laid. This one is a nice like cool bubblegum pink. This way I would have a cool pink and a warm pink to choose from. And don't forget that Aether lip stain also doubles as a great blush. For my highlighter, you know what? I'm going to pick one that I rarely ever pick. This is the ColourPop Super Shock Highlighter in Monster. Very fun and unique duochrome. It has a clear base and a pink shift, which I think will go really nicely with that About Face pink blush. Yeah, I feel like this works for that sort of frosty wintry vibe that I'm envisioning. I think now is a great time to finally roll this into my everyday makeup drawer. And then I'm actually not going to pick a bronzer today. I honestly don't have very many bronzers, and I really just want to focus on my Oma Beauty contour stick. So I think I'm just going to stick with having that one in there as part of my Project Pan and not pick out any additional bronzing products. You know, this I'm actually going to go ahead and put in my everyday makeup drawer too. This is the only other powder that I have besides the Kosas one. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. I think this should just permanently live in my everyday makeup drawer because I use it just about every day as my under eye setting powder. I prefer it over the Kosas one for that, so since I use it every day, I might as well go ahead and have it in my everyday makeup drawer. And then for my last two categories, I have my eyeshadow crayons and my eyeliners. The eyeliner I want is this one. This is the NYX Epic Wear Liner Stick in Chill Blue, another great like snowy, frosty sort of color. I think that'll go great with my two eyeshadow palette picks for this rotation. I also think this will go well with my Project Pan Single Shadow, that bronzy color from Natasha Denona. I think bronze and like light blue go really well together, so I want to do at least one look with those two together. Let's see, for an eyeshadow stick, I'm going to bring in my e.l.f. No Budge Shadow Stick in Magnetic Pull, a beautiful cool taupe shade. Yeah, I just feel like I haven't used this in a minute, so let's grab that one as well. I hope you can't see my dry, peeling skin here right now, but hopefully my foundation won't cling to that too much. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started with my LYS Triple Fix Foundation. So there's that foundation. The sunscreen I'm wearing today is the I'm From Rice sunscreen. It's kind of a mattifying sunscreen, but that's the same sunscreen I wore yesterday underneath the same foundation, and I really liked the combo. I love a matte sunscreen under a dewy or like hydrating foundation. I just think that's the perfect combination. Or a dewy sunscreen under a matte foundation. Just those two together, they just balance each other out really nicely. But yeah, I really like that. My skin, I feel like it looks very like smooth and it looks like skin, you know, it doesn't look like I'm wearing a ton of makeup. Next, going in with my Kosas Revealer Concealer. I am working on panning this year. I think it's probably going to take a while, but fortunately, it is one of my favorite concealers. I don't think I'd buy it again, simply because I think the NYX Serum Concealer is just as good, but either way, I do really enjoy this one. Then I'm going with my Oma Double Take Contour Stick in White Pearl. Yeah, I do feel like this contour stick has gotten just a little bit harder to blend with age, because I have had this for about 2.5 years now. I think it's like just starting to become a little bit more stiff. It's still blending really pretty easily. But I may start picking it up directly from the stick onto my brush. I always make sure to blend my bronzer like right up into the hairline. That really helps it look a lot more natural, so that there's not like a clear line where your hairline starts that looks a lot lighter than your bronzer. Starting to have some little baby hairs growing in up here, you can see. I think there's going to be a lot more coming in soon because I mentioned before, I did recently go back on spironolactone, which is a treatment that helps with hormonal acne and hormonal hair loss. So far, my skin's been looking great, and I'm definitely starting to get some new hairs growing in, which is very nice, because for a while there, my hair was so thin, and it was really, really getting to me, honestly. It's one of those things that like you don't think it would bother you that much, but when you start to see like your hair, like your hairline just looking thinner, it's not a good feeling. So anyway, I'm really happy with that so far. But I'll link the video. It was like a Q&A where I talked about that. I talked about it at the beginning of that video, but I can link that below if you want to hear more about that. For blush, I will use my About Face blush in Laid, and I'm just going to use that same brush that I was just using for contour. This is the BK Beauty 109. It's from their Core Line extension. It's kind of like a mini version of the 101. And I really like it for cream cheek products. It's got a great angle to it. Alright, now I'm just powdering my under eyes with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Powder, and then setting the rest of my face with my Kosas Cloud Set Powder, which has a nice pan in it now. Very happy. I also just removed the hard pan today, so it feels nice and fresh. And for the ColourPop highlighter in Monster, I never know whether I should apply this before powder or after, but I prefer putting highlighter on after, just because I feel like it shows up better that way. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's kind of a cream to powder formula, so I feel like this shouldn't disrupt the makeup underneath, but I guess we'll find out. It's been quite a while since I've used this, so. It's still really nice and creamy though. It really hasn't dried out. I've noticed some ColourPop Super Shock products dry out like within a year, and then others practically never dry out. Like they will last a lifetime. It really seems shade dependent. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna put a little on my nose. You know what? Lately I've been putting highlighter on my nose. I know that's a polarizing technique, but I like the way it looks, so I'm gonna do it. Yeah, and it doesn't seem like that highlighter lifted up my foundation. If anything, it might have lifted up my blush a little bit, but I can just tap a little bit more of that in that spot. Just tapping back over that with my brush to kind of blend everything together. All right, so moving on to the eyes, I am gonna first prime my lids. I finally took the stopper out of my CoverGirl eyelid primer, and of course there's like so much left now, but thinking this will be empty in the next couple of months. I'm trying to think of what kind of look I want to do. Okay, I'm thinking I'll probably do a mix of both of the palettes that I chose. I've really been wanting to do a look with a matte blue shadow all over the lid. So I think that this light, like this is, it's like, they call it a periwinkle, but it's really like a sky blue. This is the shade Altitude from Lethal. Yeah, I think I want that to be the main feature of this look. I think it's gonna go really cute with the pink blush also. So I'm just gonna pick some of that up on a shader brush. I already did my brows, by the way. I'm also wearing my little periwinkle earrings today, so I think this will be perfect. I'm just kind of like winging that, not really winging it out, but sort of pulling it upward rather than outward. It's kind of the shape I've been liking lately. Okay, so now that I have that laid down, that is such a fun color, then I'm just going to take a small crease brush, pick up a little bit more of that shade, and just blend the whole thing. Alright, so I think for my matte shades, I'm going to dip, or my deeper matte shades, I'm going to dip into my Polar Bear palette. I'm going to take a little bit of the dark brown here, that's the shade Sub-Zero, and I'm just taking that on a pencil brush across my upper lash line. Yeah, I ended up bringing that wing pretty far out. This pencil brush is so good at creating like a smudgy wing with eyeshadow. It's, again, from BK Beauty, the 210. Their brushes are just unmatched. Like, so many of their brushes have become daily use brushes for me. I know they get a lot of hype, but I think it's for good reason. Then I'm just taking a little bit more of that shade on my lower lash line, really just the outer half, and connecting it to the wing. So for my inner corner, I'm going to layer a couple things. But first I'm going to take some of Polar from this palette. It's a frosty white with a blue shift. Tap a little of that on my inner corner. Alright, then I'm going to take some of this shade. This is called Genesis, I'm pretty sure. From Lethal, it is a multi-chrome. I'm just going to layer that on top of that, basically, of that previous shade. And I'm just tapping the excess onto this inner portion of my lid. I still want the lid to be mostly matte, but I don't mind a little bit of sparkle. Lightly dusting that inner part of the lid. Wow. I really like this look. Okay. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the eyeshadow look. I'm going to take some of this NYX Epic Wear liner stick on my lower waterline. Alright, going with my Essence Bye Bye Panda Eyes mascara. I think I'm just going to put this on the top lashes today. I'm curious, did you guys make any New Year's resolutions this year? If so, let me know what they were down below. Maybe I can get some ideas from you, but I mainly just set goals. I set like some life goals, some YouTube goals. Most of my goals this year center around like reducing stress, because I have realized that I am a chronically stressed person and I don't want to be that way anymore. So really trying to actually be more organized as a way to reduce stress, because I think a lot of my stress comes from not being organized and like not managing my time very well. So that's kind of what a lot of my goals are centered around. For example, one of my goals is to have ideally two, but at least one work-free day per week, because I have not been great about that in the past. My work-life balance, when your work is also your passion, it's really hard to like not be doing it constantly, but I'm working on that this year. That's one of my biggest goals. And then I also set a goal to read 10 books. All right, I'm thinking for my lip, my Urban Decay lipstick in Liar is going to be the best option. I also want to continue like a consistent yoga routine of doing yoga like at least a few times a week. We're doing the 30 days of yoga with Adrienne this month. Every January she does a new 30 days of yoga series. That's always like such a great way to start out the year. I think that's almost a little bit too warm for this look. Let me top that with my Nude by Nature gloss and see if that helps kind of tone down the warmth of that lipstick a little bit. This is the gloss in the shade Tea Rose. I think this is too warm toned. I'm gonna try again. Alright, I'm gonna go in with my trusty Kokie lip liner in Nude. This is a great, like, cooler toned brown nude. I think I'm actually going to use my Project Pan lipstick, my CoverGirl Honeyed Bloom. I think that, along with the brown, yeah, I think that goes better with this eye look. Alright, there's the finished look. I feel like it turned out very 90s, and I love it. With like the slightly brown lip and the pastel blue eyeshadow. I love pastel blue eyeshadow. I think it's one of the, like, just most classic, colorful looks you can do. There we have it. That is my everyday makeup drawer for January. I'm thinking this is probably going to be my drawer for all of January. I'm toying with the idea of starting to do these everyday makeup drawer videos just once a month, like the first week of each month. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now, because I do feel like I want to give myself a little bit more time with these products. So most likely my next one will be at the beginning of February, but I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support my channel, you can check out the channel membership or the Patreon, where I do post a bonus video every month and you get early access to videos, so we'd love to see you over there. But I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you very soon in my next one. Bye.